What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and it's almost Christmas, which means it's time for some ho 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 from our dear old Santa Claus. You know, the big old jolly man. He looks actually a little bit like me, but older with like a gray beard. That guy. I'm kind of a plump guy. If you're blind and you're here, I'm a big guy. People would not. Well, I'm not. I'm not like huge, but I could play Santa if I grew the beard out. Lost the lip ring. Um, but yeah. So this is My Secret Santa, and this movie should have been pitched to other people. This is kind of a winning concept. I'll give them that. And I would have pitched this to other people than Alexandra Breckenridge, who, by the way, should have like a standing deal with Netflix to have a new Christmas movie every year because it like Virgin River and her, it makes sense. Next year, I'm hoping for an Alexander Breckenridge Josh Duhamel movie because that way we get the Virgin River slash Ransom Canyon crossover. But here she's joined by Ryan Eggold and also Tia Mowry is here. So, from Sister Sister, half of the twins. So it's not really the lead. She's been lead of other Christmas movies before, but she's just, if anything, she's kind of the villain here. But anyway, um, so My Secret Santa has audio description. I didn't catch who. Nope, I did not catch who. It did not. It didn't play where it usually plays for me, where it's right at the end of the movie. Um, I have guesses as to who made this, but as far as the actual quality of the audio description, yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like, it points out a couple of the sight gags. It can only go just so far because the part of the thing about the movie is the transformation process. So the film hinges upon the fact that Alexander Breckenridge is poor and she's a mom to a daughter named Zoe who loves to snowboard. And Zoe gets accepted into a snowboarding camp that's expensive and apparently right nearby. Like they don't have to travel too far. They just kind of go home and back. So I think she lives up in this, wondrous Christmas-like village where there's this pretty town ski resort thing where people go anyway. Um, and she just gets fired from working at a company making cookies right before Christmas. And the guy's like, there's never a good time for this. And she's like, so you picked Christmas? Like, it was cute, whatever. Um, she runs into a guy, Ryan Eggold. So we have our romantic lead at like a record shop, and she's trying to sell her old albums. And in that, she's trying to sell her own album because she was in a like a band back in the day called Screaming Kittens. So, um, Jesus, uh, my body had a visceral reaction to that band name. Um, but Ryan uh, remembers the band and favorably and helps her out and clearly likes her and all that kind of stuff, but she's just not in a place looking for a guy and all that kind of stuff. And she needs this job because of Zoe. She has to pay for Zoe's thing, and she finds out that if she can work at this one place where they're doing a snowboarding camp, that the price is 50%. So she goes in. I don't know how she gets that 50% discount though. We didn't really make that clear because I think it's it's because she says this is her father. Anyway, um, but they don't have the same name. I don't know. Don't overthink it. It's just a Netflix Christmas movie. Um, so she goes in to try to find a job at this place, and they don't have anything. She's like, "I'll clean up dog poop." Nothing, nothing. But then they happen to be hiring for a Santa because their Santa quit right at Christmas time. Um, so they need a Santa Claus. So she goes to her. I don't know what they are. if they're cousins, brothers, a gay couple, I have no idea. She has friends, family members that are into horror movies and movie makeup. And I think they're like the recreation of what Robin Williams goes to for Mrs. Doubtfire. I think it's that. So I'm going to go with gay couple because one of them later on in the audio description is listed as brother-in-law, but they are really underdeveloped as characters. Like as individual human beings, they're basically like the guys who do makeup in like horror movies. And that's it. We don't have time. Like we do not have time to give them actual characteristics. So, character traits, yeah, I did not pick up on what those two are. There isn't like some side plot where the two of them like fall in love or, you know, I don't know, create a horror Christmas movie. I don't know what they're doing. They just come in for makeup purposes, much like Harvey Firestein and whoever the other one was in Miss Doubtfire that I'm not forgetting. So they turn Alexander Breckenridge into a dude who looks like he could play Santa Claus, I guess. I don't know that that's possible. Alexander Breckenridge, I've not always been blind. She's been around long enough that I have a passing knowledge of what she at least used to look like. Not necessarily her Virgin River days, but she was on The Walking Dead, and I think that's the most recent memory that I have of her was when she was Jessie on The Walking Dead. So if she looks anything like that now, I'm like, how did you pull this off? Even Mrs. Doubtfire team would look at you and be like, really? Really? You want us to make her look like a jolly, big, jolly old man? All right. So, um, I guess they do. And she goes in and she has kind of a ridiculous voice where she just kind of growls her way through. She's like, well, I think that we gotta go down here. We have to come and sounds like a woman doing a guy's voice. Because she's not really a voice talent. She's not like Robin Williams, who came up with this whole other like British nanny accent, like "Ew, eventually on Doubtfire." Like that's why that Robin was why that movie was great. Like anyway, so she dresses up like Santa, gets the job, and ends up working it. But she gives kind of horrible advice as Santa, like every time a child asks for a gift that's too big, she brings her "I'm a poor mother" aspect to it. She's like, "Well, that's an expensive gift, and that's how parents get credit card debt." And so she always tried to work the child into a more reasonable gift. That's funny, but meanwhile, she's still herself sometimes, and Ryan Eggold is still falling in love with her, and she's kind of letting herself be open to the idea of it and go. And that's the movie. And Tia Mowry plays, I forgot her name, Natalia, Victoria, something like that, who is like the manager of this place, works with Ryan Eggold's character, and uh, thinks something is amiss, is afoot, and she's going to figure out what it is. But she's also kind of like the Grinch, and her heart's going to warm up by the end of the movie because this is a feel good Christmas movie. But what will be the catalyst for it? How will her life change? Of course, they're going to try to get her to sing in this film because she was in a band, so prepare yourself. Um, Yeah. First of all, these two people are perfect for Christmas movies as a couple, and in this movie, Ryan Eggold is he's just doing the same thing that he did on New Amsterdam, which is kind of like his vibe is this sort of like soft spoken, like, well, I want to be a nice guy and do good things, but I just don't know if I can. I don't know if I'm good enough. Like that's kind of like his vibe. I think he played a killer on Alex Cross on the Cross series. And it didn't work for me because I was like, wow, he's so horribly miscast here. He's just like wildly miscast. Because this is kind of his sweet spot is the, well, I guess, I just think there's hope in the world. And you look really pretty. And I just wanted you to know that. You know, I mean, he's just got this like thing going on where he seems kind of depressed, but also optimistic. and kind of sweet. You know, like it's a vibe. And he does it, and it's his thing. So when you try to ask him to play like a villain, it's like, no, 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 no. This is why we give awards for casting now. I understand it, because on the other side, it's like, no, no. Um, he has one speed, and it's not that. Same with Alexander Breckenridge. Her playing Santa is ridiculous. Her being in Christmas movies is a great idea. Her being Santa is absurd. Absolutely absurd. And I was thinking, who could have pulled this movie off? This concept, this idea. Now, because I don't feel like a knockoff. It'll be like, didn't I see that on Netflix? I was like, what if we had given this to like Melissa McCarthy? You know, somebody who was actually funny. Rebel Wilson's career is on life support. Um, someone who actually could have done something from it. And before somebody's like, you're picking all the plus size women, I was like, I think Kate McKinnon would have done really funny work here. You know what I'm saying? Like the idea is though that there's nothing that's inherently funny about what she's doing. She literally they kind of just misuse the concept, and it ends up being just like a flat Christmas movie that has this uh, weird thing thrown into it that isn't really amplified by anyone who's actually funny. So yeah, like I mean, if you pick kind of a more plus size actress, you don't have to also put them in such a weird bodysuit, so you don't have the whole transformation process. But yeah, if this had been like Kate McKinnon, I would have absolutely taken that as well. I just think it had to be somebody who understood comedic timing, which is not really Alexander Breckenridge's thing. She's not known for that. She's not known for comedic timing. She's known for doing this type of thing, but without the element. She's Virgin River. She's, Jessie on The Walking Dead. She's the pretty damsel. She's smart. She can, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things that she can pull off, but Santa's not one of them, man. Um, so I like the concept of the movie. I just think it's miscast, but yet I also want to see Alexander Breckenridge in Christmas movies. So I'm not totally mad at it because, first of all, these two have chemistry when they're not in the Santa stuff. And the writing isn't terrible. It's not bad for what this type of movie is. Netflix seems to make elevated Hallmark movies. So I didn't hate myself for this, but it's hard to not look at this and go, yeah, but you could have, you know? But what this could have been is something really kind of special. And it's sad that Netflix didn't see that. It's sad that Netflix treated it like this was just some regurgitated, Christmas, uh, you know, uh, I don't know, treadmill of a movie. Just like, oh, well, it's going to be a one off for us. It won't be anything special. Apple still pushes Spirited on people. Ryan Reynolds still hypes that shit on social media. And it's like, by the way, remember I did a movie called Spirited? So you can make a special straight to streaming Christmas movie and make it feel like people have to come back and watch it year in and year out. And I think if you had taken the time to actually figure out who was right for the part and less about who's pretty and fits the other half of the film well, the romantic comedy part of it. Um, because I would argue that if you had switched this up and done like Melissa McCarthy and Chris Sullivan, uh, you know, great. Chris Sullivan could have done Ryan Eagles' role. And seems more like more paired with Melissa McCarthy, I guess you could say. Instantaneously. So or I was thinking if you're going to continue to make LGBTQ comedies, Kate McKinnon, Fortune Feimster, like go for it, you know? If there's a gay couple in here, why not have gay Santa and that be her thing? The thing is silly anyway. And one of the reasons why I was saying like this movie can only go just so far with blind audiences is people are going to be wondering the whole time what she looks like the whole time how good the makeup is. Because if you're a fan of Virgin River, you're thinking of her Virgin River character, and you're like, okay, how did you make this woman into Santa? You know. So it's sort of that problem when we get into biopics, which is the how close did we come to looking like Elvis type thing. You have that here, which is the okay, so the pretty little girl from Virgin River is Santa and people are buying this? How good is that makeup? But it's something that we can't answer the question. The audio description really can't cross that either. It can't really say, oh, by the way, it's not that great. The makeup is kind of shit. I'm just, you can absolutely tell it's a girl. It's Alexander Breckenridge. They didn't do a great job here. Um, I mean, that's left to your friends and family, but then that's their interpretation of it. So you're never really going to be able to make up your own mind about how anybody looks in this makeup and how anybody looks in this crossover. So at least if it's somebody who's nailing the performance, like if somebody was blind watching Mrs. Doubtfire the first time, you've got Robin Williams who's giving you a vocal acrobatic performance there. Like it's wildly different, so it's very entertaining. Here, it's Alexander Breckenridge talking up in her normal sweet voice, and all she just does is kind of grumble. She's like, "Rah, rah, rah, I'm Santa." Rah, rah." She can't do voices. So, I don't know. I think there are probably 100 different actresses. I could just keep listing them that I would have rather seen in this role. Doesn't mean I don't love Alexander Breckenridge. It just means this is not her role. The other half of the role is though. She has these sweet beats as this mom who wants to provide for her kid, who was in a band, and who's now got this guy that's falling in love with her. Like all of that works. It's just when you ask her to be Santa, like it's just outside of her reach, man. There's only just so much you can do. So, um, yeah, I think. If I have a comedy where I have to transform Snoop Dogg into Albert Einstein, it's just not going to work. I don't think he can make that transformation. So he's going to still sound like Snoop. He's just going to be. um, cast better. This is why we have casting awards now at the Oscars. Um, so yeah, I'm struggling with this one because it could be good, but it also has this one thing where I'm just like, I don't know if it really sells itself. And ultimately, the audience will decide for it. But I'm let down by the fact that the concept could have been better with the right person in the right role. This is the kind of film that could have stood out for Netflix, but instead is just going to be like, oh, will that happen? You know, like, um, so yeah, it will exactly. It'll fade in the background. I always want to like find someone who's like really into Hallmark movies and see how many of them they actually remember from like 5, 10, 15 years ago. Because there's so many of them. And it's like, do you actually remember slash follow all of them and remember all these actors and actresses that were in them? Or do some of them just fall by the wayside and you only remember the great ones? Because I think that's probably more likely. You remember a couple of them, but when you keep making the same movie over and over, how do you stand out? And the way to stand out here is by actually going for it. And you don't really go for it when you cast Alexander Breckenridge. That's sending the message that you just want to be like every other Hallmark Christmas movie that's coming out this year, from Great American Family or Lifetime or wherever else they're coming from now. So I'm gonna go rotten on My Secret Santa, which is really sad because I would have gone positive on it, but I can't get past the casting of Alexander Breckenridge. Not because I don't like her or even love her as an actress. Listen, I got a bad for my Walking Dead fam like all the time, but there are a host of actresses from that show that would be wrong for this role, and she's one of them. Like I don't want to see Melissa McBride in this role. I don't want to see Sonequa Martin Green in this role. I don't want to see like there's like who. So um yeah, I just it needed to be a comedian and it's not. And it's a missed opportunity because this movie could have been funny and could have actually sold some of those beats, but it doesn't. It could have been great instead of average. And for me, that makes it a little below average. I'm going to give it a 5.7 out of 10 rotten. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. They can't all be winners. And I'll see you guys on the other side.